Welcome to my show, simply entitled Women Influencers. I am Veronica Malolas, CCIM founder and CEO of Capstack Commercial, a commercial real estate company serving the greater Orlando area. Today's guest is Natasha Falcone, a real estate investor in multifamily. Her background in accounting led her to discovering the benefits of real estate investing and spends time in advocating for others to build wealth through real estate, either passively or actively. What a wonderful story she has. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe below. I welcome your comments and please share with someone who can benefit from this podcast. Hi, Natasha. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am so good. We are getting ready to go to New Orleans tomorrow to celebrate my daughter's 21st birthday. So big weekend. So it's very exciting.
So fun in an amazing city. How exciting.
Yeah, we can't wait. But I have you here now. So
Yes.
I want to thank you for being here today and being our guest in our podcast. And if you don't mind, I'd really like to just jump right in and ask you about your story. Tell us how you grew up in your environment and how you got to where you are today.
Oh, of course, of course. I'm so excited to be here. So thank you, first of all. And well, how I got started. I was born in New York, and so I'm first generation American. And I moved to Miami when I was very, very young. So I consider myself a native. And I spent most of my upbringing in a city called Hialeah, which we will talk about later and come full circle with that. I then went on to study accounting in college.
Wow.
And the reason why I did that was because when I was young, the options were doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant, and I didn't know of anything else. So I chose accounting.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you, when you say your options were only those, was that because of your family?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
both of your parents are Cuban?
Both of my parents are Cuban, and it wasn't so much about my family because I think anything that I would have chosen, they would have supported. It was the fact that there was no knowledge about the fact that there were other opportunities or other things that you could do besides the traditional careers. That was what it was about. And so when I evaluated these traditional careers, accounting was the one that I took a class in college, and I was like, oh, this seems fine. I'm going to do this. I was very lucky that that's what I chose because I went on to work for one of the big six back then, accounting firms. And what happens? I end up in the real estate tax department. And so now I find out and learn that real estate investing is a thing there. So I spent a few years there and then went on to work. I ended up working for one of my clients they were shopping center owners and developers and business for a very long time. I started there as their controller and I was there 16 years, excuse me. And by the time that I left there, I was the president of the company. The best thing that happened to me was that I really was exposed and spent time operations, property management, accounting, estate planning, you name it, all the aspects of running a business was what I was involved in. So at a certain point, 16 years later, I said, now it's time. And it was time for me to move on and do other things. And so then I started my company in 2019 and began investing in real estate, specifically in multifamily.
But wait a minute. 2019 was when it all started with COVID. So how did that turn out? I mean, 2020 shut down.
I wasn't thinking about any of that. And I started my company and said, well, we're going to begin investing in real estate. And I think it's a great example of how there are opportunities in every market, in every cycle, there are opportunities. You just have to find them. Because I was able to buy a property in 2020. I bought in 21, in 22, in 23. And and 24, I haven't purchased anything yet. But I have been able to purchase multifamily buildings during that time frame just because I found the right opportunities.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, really, millionaires are made during a recession. I mean, would you agree with that?
That's a great point. That's not what I was thinking while it was happening, but you're absolutely right. And you seize an opportunity, and there's a lot of talk during a recession or during bad times. There's a lot of fear talk, and I think that if you do proper underwriting, if you really assess the assets that you're going to invest in, and you make good decisions that you feel are best for the asset, are best for your investors, I I don't think you can go wrong.
Absolutely. And you're the perfect example of that. As a matter of fact, I've seen some of your wonderful videos on LinkedIn and social media where you talk about wealth building through commercial real estate. And, talk to us a little bit about that.
I became involved in social media because I believe it's really important to share with others what you're doing so that they can see that that you can replicate it. So people
Yeah.
can see that it is possible to build a business, to build generational wealth, to just do it and invest in real estate. And I think I sharing some of my stories on social media, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and even on Twitter, hopefully will help someone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so inspiring. Let me tell you, Natasha, I see your videos and I'm thinking, wow, that lady is just amazing. I just wanted to tell you that, but
Thank
I
you
wanted
so
to
much.
I wanted to move on and ask you about a particular challenge that comes to mind and how you overcame it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, I'm going to talk about a challenge, and I'm not sure if I overcame it, and you and I are going to figure that out. So I believe my biggest challenge was fear. And what I mean by that is it took me a very long time to figure out that I was actually an entrepreneur
Mm,
and to actually take the leap in starting my own company, because it's very scary when you grow up in the corporate world and you grow, you learn, you start increasing your income, and you start building a life based on a W-2. It's very difficult to make that change, and fear is the driver of not making that change.
sure.
And so it took me a long time to figure out, but wait a minute, I am an entrepreneur. I'm just doing it for other people. I'm building businesses for other people. So fast forward to starting my business, and I was like, wait a minute, okay, is fear there? The issue is that fear never goes away.
Right.
That is what I believe. It's just how quickly you stomp it and move and keep moving forward. So that
That's
is
right.
my biggest challenge and continues to be a challenge.
Sure, sure. But listen, you've overcome it like several times already because you're now an asset of a few multifamily assets. So
Yes.
congratulations. That's truly inspiring. Is
Thank you.
there someone in the background that encourages you, supports you, maybe your husband? Talk a little bit about that.
I am blessed with a fabulous family. I have my husband and my two boys. And my husband was a major driver in me starting my business,
Mm,
and major encourager of me moving forward and buying some of the assets. Excuse me, some of the assets that I've purchased. So I'm
wow.
very, very lucky to have him supporting me in this journey.
That's amazing. And that's really what we need, right? We also need people that surround us, that encourage us. And what comes to mind with what you just shared is that you can actually make a good income if you work for someone, but you
Yes.
actually grow wealth when you build a business for yourself. That's the big difference. So,
And that's really true. And I always like to say there are many people that are employed or have other businesses that are not in real estate, and they love what they do. And that's fabulous because you can do both. You can invest in real estate passively.
that's
You
right.
don't have to be an active real estate investor. You can choose. You can be passive or you can be active. So there's
Mm.
not investing in real estate is not something that you have to say, well, I have to give up everything else that I'm doing to do it. No, there
Mm.
are ways to build that legacy wealth and still do what you love if that's what you choose.
Oh, that's fantastic. Really. I love what you just said because it gives people or our listeners really a thought of where they would be in their stage of their life and also how they can expand on what they already own or have, right?
Exactly.
So that's fantastic. I wanted to ask you about influence. And this show is actually called Women Influencers. And Natasha, let me tell you, I consider you to be an influencer. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, when you think about an outcome that you are most proud of because you've made an impact on something or someone or an outcome, what comes to mind?
Wow. Well, I believe that the things that you do, or like the things that I do, I hope influence others in them taking a leap and investing, specifically investing in real estate, but taking a leap to do something that they know that they love and that it can create a great life for them. But specifically investing in real estate. So I hope that I influence others in general with what I'm doing on social media, with conversations that I have, and what have you. But I could tell you a story about this one particular situation where I had this lovely lady come to one of our buildings where I was replacing the windows and doors for impact. And so she came to provide a quote, and I met with her, and we were discussing things. And then she gives me the pricing, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is not going to work. Your pricing is like 3 times more." And I want to be candid with you because I don't want to waste your time. It's too high or what have you. And then we kept talking. Just she's like, "Oh, I understand, and that's okay. It was great to meet you." And she's like, "But you're the owner of the building?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm the owner of the building." She goes, "Wow, like how did you do that?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And this is something I love to talk about. So we chatted for probably another 20 minutes or so about what her goals are and how she just started in her business and that she was killing it in what she was doing, and how what I just mentioned, like I said, well, you can invest in real estate too. It's possible, do research. And I gave her some tips and what have you. The best part of the story is that we just crossed paths that one time, and we've actually stayed connected. And recently she reached out to me and she was like, I'm learning all about this and I'm getting ready to make my first investment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how wonderful is that? In one place that you would never think to meet somebody.
Yeah.
The deal didn't even happen. And yet I had a positive impact on her to get involved in investing in real estate.
What a great story, Natasha. And that's really where I think that being an influencer is really not just about social media, right? Being an influencer is just so much more than that. And that's a great story that you had shared. So I'm going to ask you, if you had one piece of advice for our audience, what would that be?
Invest in real estate. Invest in real estate and just get started. If you haven't done it, you don't need a great deal of wealth to do it. There are a lot of ways that you can invest in real estate, but I would say that do what you love, but invest in real estate.
Wow, that's really cool. If there was somebody in the audience that wanted to reach out to you and learn more about this, where could they find you?
Oh, yes. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. My handle is Nat Falconi, N-A-T Falconi, Falconi. So DM me. I'm always checking and on the platform and love to chat with people about real estate.
That's fantastic. That really is. So we actually got to the point of the interview where I get to pass the mic on to you and you get to ask me a question.
Okay. So here's a question for you. What encouraged you to begin investing in real estate?
Great question. And I appreciate that so much because I actually was encouraged by you as a speaker coming out of the Women's Summit that was put together by Beth Azor. And let me tell you, right after that summit, my sisters and I had already invested in a franchise for a wellness spa. And so I'm in charge of looking for space. Can't find any because we're very picky as to where we're going to put our business.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back from that summit, and I gathered my sisters and I said, "Hey, we're going to buy a building."
I love it.
They all looked at me like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Oh my gosh.
And let me tell you, I walked away from that summit thinking to myself, wow, if those ladies can do it, I could absolutely do it too. And here we are in the middle of a transaction, buying as a group, as our first building. Now, my husband and I, we own a commercial building in our home country, the Philippines, but this is the first building that we're actually buying here in the United States. Now, we've invested in residential real estate, but this is really the first U.S. commercial real estate that we're purchasing, and we're closing in August. So not too long now. So it's so exciting. And I have to tell you that I would never have thought about doing that if not for that conference, because as I told you before, now you were a speaker, and of course Beth is a speaker and the organizer. Yes. And as a matter of fact, I registered all my sisters to go next year.
I love that.
I know. And to all of you who are listening, if you're interested, it's actually Beth Azor's Women Investment Summit that's happening at the first quarter of next year. So watch out for that. And that's really why I did it. And great question. So I appreciate that so much. I'm so excited about it. But Natasha, I want to thank you for spending the time with me today. I think you're a very, very inspirational lady. And if not enough people have told you yet, I want to tell you that you are an inspiration because, like you said, you've overcome your fear about investing in real estate. You went outside of your comfort zone. You have wonderful family that supports you, and that serves as a great inspiration. So before we go, do you have any parting words for our audience today?
I first want to thank you. That is so, so kind, and I appreciate it very much. I'm doing what I do because I love it, and if I can encourage others to join in and get started investing in real estate, that is just awesome. So I am privileged to be here with you and to know you, and thank you very much.
Yes, and we'll see each other very soon because we'll see each other in the summit next year.
Yes.
Of course, we're together in this fantastic Power Beacons group, so I'm super excited. But thank you again, Natasha, and I'm sure we'll see each other soon.
Absolutely, thank you so much.